Imagine a world where you could remain forever young, where time leaves no trace on your skin, no shadow on your soul. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But what if that dream came at the highest price you could ever pay? Your conscience, your humanity, your soul. This is the story of a man who wished to never grow old, and the cursed portrait that bore every trace of his sins. Welcome to the dark and decadent world of the Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, a haunting masterpiece where beauty is a blessing and a curse. Dorian Gray, young, breathtakingly beautiful, and innocent. He was adored by all, especially the artist Basil Hallward, who saw in Dorian the very essence of beauty and inspiration. One day Basil painted his portrait, a masterpiece. But Dorian, terrified by the idea of aging, wished that the painting would grow old instead of him. He didn't know that his wish would come true, and that it would mark the beginning of his descent into darkness. Then came Lord Henry, charming, cynical, and dangerously persuasive. He believed beauty and pleasure were the only things worth living for. Lord Henry's words cast a spell on Dorian. He began to see youth as the only thing valuable in life, something to be preserved at all costs. The seed of vanity was planted, and Dorian's innocence slowly began to decay. One desperate wish, and it came true. Dorian wanted to stay forever young, and the portrait would bear the burden of his sins. Soon, the first change appeared. After cruelly ending his relationship with sweet Sybil Vane, Dorian noticed something disturbing in the painting. A subtle sneer, a trace of cruelty. He was horrified, but also intrigued. He realized he could do anything, and the portrait would pay the price. Years passed, but Dorian remained flawless, untouched by time. Yet behind the mask of beauty, his soul decayed. He indulged in every pleasure, seduced innocence, and destroyed reputations. Each sin carved a new horror into the portrait. Wrinkles of cruelty, a twisted grin, bloodshot eyes, filled with lust and malice. The man in the mirror stayed divine. But the canvas? It screamed. When Basil Hallward, the artist who painted the cursed portrait, came to confront Dorian, he was met not with remorse, but with madness. Dorian showed him the portrait. Basil was horrified. He saw not a man, but a monster, and so Dorian silenced him forever. Blood was spilled, but not a drop appeared on Dorian's flawless hands. The portrait, however, was no longer human. It bore the stains of murder. Dorian tried to silence his guilt with pleasure, parties, wealth, desire. Nothing could erase the memory of Basil's eyes. The portrait, it rotted more each day. Once handsome, now demonic. His soul on canvas, he locked it away, buried it under dust and silence. But the whispers in the dark never stopped. Dorian began to fear his own reflection. His beauty became a prison. Alone, surrounded by silence, Dorian stood before the portrait. The grotesque figure on the canvas stared back. He couldn't bear it anymore. The lies, the guilt, the blood on his hands. If only I could be free again, he whispered. And then he acted. A knife through the canvas, a cry in the night. Servants found a withered, unrecognizable man lying dead on the floor, and a beautiful portrait of a young man, untouched, eternal. Beauty fades, pleasure passes, but the soul, it remembers everything. If you enjoyed this journey through darkness and desire, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tales from the shadows of world literature. This was World Lit by Merva. See you in the next chapter.